Honorable members, we got an law standing order Thursdays, still brawl private members. Na 2 p.m. Written questions for oral answers. We got a number of questions here from members who certainly submitting these questions on time. We have, in fact, 8 questions. All the questions, possible like me play, print him, na run him, na put him long question paper. We have to receive it at the latest 1 hour before the meeting of the House. So me like talk sabi. In any case, we got enough questions here to, for the members to ask the ministers. I call on the member for Lato. Okay, I mean, no stop. We can call him later. The Honorable Member Usati Makim Olmerilo South, na Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is directed to the Minister for Education. There is a particular school that is practicing beating school children by the headmaster and a senior teacher, which is causing school kids to withdraw from going to school for fear of being beaten up. I'm like background also. So question below me, amigo also, what law does the Education Department have to protect school children from the teacher's abuse? What discipline is imposed on teachers that are practicing child beating in schools or, child abuse? Thank you.
Honorable Minister for Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Member Mary Law South, the Deputy Speaker, for raising this question. The law of beating children, stop on national government yet, only finishing before yet. There are no teachers today who are allowed to give him corporal punishment or beginning blow you me. So that's why department it got process where suppose teacher me beat him, smarten, he must cut report he come. And I want to just also mention here that the report must also be furnished to the education officer in the district, who is the eye and mouth of the department in the districts. So when the letter comes to the secretary will send an inspector to go and visit the school, come up with a report. At the end of it, the inspector will recommend to the secretary whether that suppose teacher may walk him wrong and got 2 plus something. Number 1, a teacher may be demoted. Number 3, suppose issue big platumas, all can rouse him too. So the rightful people to go in and do the inspections, all inspectors. The inspector will have to go in and inspect the school and find out whether this plus something true. Talk long all stakeholders inside the school now. And then the process will start where suppose true, then the particular teacher will be either remoted or suppose something go big platumas or can even terminate him. So the process, Honorable Member, report, he must come along department. Thank you.
Honorable Member for Tewa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a question directed to, I think, the Economic Development Minister, but I think, staff So, Tim mas gulong number 5 question is it. I'm display ami gulong Technical Services Minister. Sealing of the last section of Haku in Buka Island has been contentious issue for some time. Who has been awarded a contract to do sealing? And Lowana Moni Mark, display more people local question. And of the same nature is the question Igolong Sierra Korepobi Road. So, Minister of Technical Services confirmed today that the tender for Sierra Korepobi has been officially drawn and usatem winning this contract na Lawane Moni Mark. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister for Technical Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Member for Tewa, for this question, which is the first question is a very controversial one. During the time of tender, the tender was carried out by the National Tenders Board. So the bids that were submitted to BEC were contract was to be awarded to Rybro for 54 million. But then BEC decided to award it to Jomic for 59 million. The National Minister for Works came on Monday, so we went for the commissioning of the project, the part that was carried out by Rybro. And also the National Minister for Works, Honorable Solan Mirisim, decided to meet with the President so they can discuss that remaining part of the contract. So the National Minister for Works has stipulated that there are 4 main roads in Bougainville. One is the Bukarin Road, one is Kiara Toimanapu and Toimanapu Buin, and also Siwai to Panguna Road. So during the meet with the President, they agreed that Jomic will only do 5 kilometers and the rest will be given to Rybro. So that is the agreement at the moment, but that wasn't in writing. So it may still be discussed further. With the upgrading of Sierra Korepobi Road, there is a budget of 7 million in the budget. So the tenders has been called. Rybro has tendered on that project. I think JSK also tendered, but the award has not been done yet. There were not many national Bougainville contractors who tendered on those projects. The opportunity was there. They should have tendered if they think that they are qualified to do those works. So there is no amount yet. We will update you if the selection is done, but I can say that it will be up to the amount of 7 million. We cannot do anything more than that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member Blolato, question 1, blow you. Now,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, let me come late. No good minister, I partly answering this question, but me by asking me this question. The question goes to the Minister for Technical Service. In line with the current visit by the National Highways Minister, do you have any plans to align the Bougainville Highways rehabilitation and sealing to the Connect PNG program? Thank you.
Honorable Minister for Technical Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Member for Lato. That's a very important question. The National Minister for Works, Honorable Mirisim, came, and his advice is, but I can still go ahead and answer the question if I have already answered it in the other question also. But there are 4 main highways that will come under Connect PNG. As I said earlier, the Pitono to Kesa, Kira to Toimarapu, Toimarapu to Buin, and Siwai Panguna Way. So his assurance was these projects will be sealed by 2027, these national roads. So the realignment is in our vision. Earlier in March, I made a statement. I said, we're going to do a master plan. Now, currently, in the technical service, there's a consultant who came this week. So he's working on the master plan for our infrastructure. With a realignment, yes, Honorable Timothy Matthew submitted one submission for a realignment from Piano to Konga. So that document was carried by the Minister for National Works. So, and also the Minister himself mentioned about the road from the West Coast Road, from Torokina to Kunua. He mentioned that himself that there is no link in this part. So he advised us to do a submission so Connect PNG can also work on that. And they also, after I mentioned to them that this Puka passage is only 300 meters, they said, it's also interesting that you should bring a submission so they can have a look at it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Could I offer some
Honorable
explanation?
Minister.
Yeah, I'm privy to the discussions between the President and the Minister for Works, and consequently the President formally briefed the Cabinet yesterday on the issue, particularly Blodisla Haku portion of the road. And this stemmed from a public document where Minister of National Works, Mikirab na Tokolsem, this contract along Haku Road has now been changed na Raibro by takeover long Atomic. That's not true. There's an existing contract long Atomic long deal one time this Haku portion of the road. What the President had told the National Minister, Laramol Atomic Iwokim na if the work is unsatisfactory in terms of the first 5 kilometers, then BEC can kirap na luglu gen long this contract. But as it stands, there's an existing contract for Chomik to work on that portion of the road. If we did otherwise, we would be in breach of that contract. Now, the thinking behind the minister's suggestion, also, like him, national government through this Connect PNG will deal with these major roads. Namely like him ABG now by concentrate on all what we call as the provincial road. So as it stands today, Mr. Speaker, Loalbi Minister, through National Minister of Works even Sirawantam President. And one of the issues that came up was the Haku Road. And there was some suggestion from the minister that Raibro should take over. But President didn't make him clear, Minister, also existing contract where anit long law BEC been given Emlo Chomik. And Chomik will still do the road. If there's any dissatisfaction about performance below Chomik, then that contract can be reviewed. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney General. Member for Lato, question number 3.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, question number 3. My second question goes to the Technical Service Minister again. In the 2022 and the 2023 budget, there were funds allocated to Lato constituency. One, the Siandaro to Taguli Road, Number 2, LATO infrastructure. And number 3, LATO integrated funds. Can the minister advise on the progress of the tender and the procurement process for these projects? Thank you.
Honorable Minister for Technical Services.
Thank you once again, Member for Lato. These projects are budgeted under RDG. So what I've done with all the projects, whether it's a project in the atolls or Kono or wherever, I've done a list and sent it to the finance to advise me which projects have got funds so we can tender. So the list came back, and these projects in Lato constituency are listed as projects. So funds are not received for these projects yet. So we cannot do any tender and procurement unless we receive the funding. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary budget. Supplementary question.
Yes, supplementary, Blayo.
Minister, as per the advice from your department, and the finance minister can take note, I was advised, and at the beginning of this year, I funded the officers to go down to the constituency to do scoping, and after the scoping reports were made available, I was advised by the department and the finance department as well that funds were ready for these projects. And another question that I need to also ask is, in the 2022 budget, there was a 1 million allocated to Bana district infrastructure, building infrastructure funds. And I believe they will be sorted out this year. The question of clarity is, Mikamlo Department Below you, I have been having a numerous meetings with your department. Secretary now officers below you talking me narapla something, and now you are talking me narapla something. Thank you. And the Department of Finance has been telling me another story.
Honorable Minister for Technical Services.
Thank you. I've done what I have done. That is the funding of these projects. So my technical officers, they're not in control of the funds. The funds are in control by finance department, ministry and department. So we are working in close relationship. So for finance to advise me on the availability of funding of the projects. So that is the situation. So we rely on the finance department to advise us if there are funds for the projects. Then we can do the tendering. Thank you.
Minister for Finance, you like Halvin?
Thank you. Through information, technical minister talk, it's correct. All projects for 2023, the funds are not here yet. But law 2022 carried forward all programs of infrastructure development. May giving Peninsula Minister of Technical or some by trying to monitor them and also value implementing. Thank you. So information long, Minister, I'm correct. Thank you.
Supplementary question, Mr. Speaker. Just notice a question along infrastructure funds. Given that you got 1 million too long Lopere Road, Lopere PK Road, we just want to also confirm whether there is funding already available for that. Now, also, another question, and also whether it is possible, one time 200 million I'm missing down long accounts whether some of the funds can actually be advanced to cater for immediate programs that are of priority for this year, while awaiting programs that were from 21-22. Minister Technical Service, no, I think Finance Minister can help. Thank you.
Minister for Finance or Technical Services?
Thank you, Lord. Just putting me along a clear picture. It's like 200 million and more talk long. Generally for 2022, you make it very late December, actually beginning of money coming the beginning of January. Now, this all of funding, 200 million, they are related to the PIP programs or projects, we call them projects, and also Prime Minister's commitment. And all display, now you will call them 200 million. So in other words, a month ago, we signed approval authority letter of regional member because he's the custodian on behalf of the national government and the people of Bougainville display. They have already started implementing all this project. Now, lo yumi, lo try lo have him, call him lo pre-commit him or money lo display going have by no got because he got authority lo pre-commit is now with the authority me give him long national member lo implement him. Total 136 million cash. So we don't have touch him because I'm process long and I'm starting finish lo implement him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary.
I think we started with infrastructure for Lato. Now we may go along, we will go really. Let's stick to the original question. Is your supplementary in relation to your first question?
Yes.
Okay.
Since Technical Service Minister and Finance Minister ito no got money, can we have an explanation on the 20 million that was released recently? Thank you.
Minister for Finance.
Thank you. We have to understand how we throw down the funds. Firstly, through my department, every year we approve a budget. Straight after the budget, say a month later, we do what they call, we have to present to the National Treasury or Finance and Planning a cash flow. Cash flow is why we put him in, well, justify we want this money quickly because we want to implement. So underneath now, 2023 cash flow, we submit him or approve him. A warrant. Warrant is just a document that commits that the national government will throw down the money through what they call a CFC or remittance. So me confirm him all the same, I have received the warrant, it's with me, and the 5 million, and we come underneath this 20 million, the warrant is for restoration and development grant, 5 million, but I still have to confirm. Normally, when they throw down this CFC, inconsistent one time warrant, time by taking some days before the money actually come to account. The account is called ABG grant account. So thank you. That's how we can explain him, Mr. Speaker.
Minister. Member for Tewa, I think the Minister for Economic Development is here. You can ask your question. Question number 4.
Thank you. Counterfeit products are flourishing once again in the shops of Buka Town, and street sellers are on the rise. So they are selling this on the streets. What is the department doing to control the counterfeit products in Buka Town? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What we normally do, we place around departments around walk na around long all shops lo buka. Na look all kind products mi plok lo salim lo buka. all shops Lobuka, and they try to remove all those products out of shops Lobuka. Lo underneath this la work me plus I make him too, me plus I work on them Bukata Urban Council. Na mi pla around long old street too, na try and rouse him all this la all sales so look lo work him. Lo all the streets play me lo Buka. But you realize that after me plus I work him this la operation blow try and blow clear him counterfeit products along all streets blow you me. All store blow you me. Them all by disappear lick time. Them all by disappear lick time na after a while, only come back again na start selling all this all products low streets blow you me. But what we are doing through the trade policy, me block work long, me by try long address him this la issue, emi ongoing, emi continue lo come up na one public plus something by looking at some old Bougainvillean yet, try lo salim sampla or something lo hap lo enim living long all. So this is something emi come back again lo yumia, planting man employment opportunity emi low, na how all money try making money lo survive and we contribute to this la. But the department I continue lo working work lo mipla. Thank you lo raise him. But we'll try to find a way to lo rouse him all this la counterfeit products lo street lo yumi. Na yumi try and finish all kada because one big plus something lo this la all counterfeit products yo lo tok lo ngem. Member em all lo silent all marasin tu. That's where health sector emi must come and mi must work one time. Emi big pla issue mi acknowledge him, Mr. Speaker, it's a big issue, but the department mi pla work one time. Plenty of agency lo try lo address him. It's the issue of counterfeit products where member work long talk long him. But Mr. Speaker, I think we are doing everything that we can. But after we clear the streets, behind again, boli come back again. That is the issue where people struggle one time or this time. But I think we are committed to address it now. We hopefully, suppose people are clearing again this law online law operation, people thinking long walking. We hope that this billions, I want people do not come back again one time. When I'm something local walking, Mr. Speaker, all by call all shops lo yumi. Mainly Chinese shops, kisi all products lo have like lo most bidu. Na behind boli around one temple street na only start selling all this la all products lo street. This is a thing that we are struggling against at the moment, but at the department level, we will address that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Vice President. The Honorable Member for Suir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is regarding the fermenters pipes made of materials that do not last long. Can the Minister This is regarding the perimeter pipes made of materials that do not last long. Can the Minister tell this House and my people of Suir constituency what their plans are for the rehabilitation of our cocoa fermenters and are there plans in place? Thank you, Minister, for Primary Industry, Fisheries and Marine Resources.
Minister for Primary Industries and Fisheries.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Honorable Polycarp, for the questions that you have raised. Currently, in partnership with DPA, the program called Partnership in Agriculture Commercial Development will be rolling out clean pipes refurbishment to selected farmers. And I think Suir is in one of them as well, too, including Tin Puts, Kono, and South Bougainville. So the procurements are in process. These are steel clean pipe for steel clean pipe that is actually purchased all the way from China.
I understand that the clean pipes that are bought here locally do not last long. They actually stay for like almost, and if we don't use it, it even rusts away as well too, if there's no fire burning in them. So the plan that we have at the moment with our partners is that one. For the North Bougainville, especially on Buka Island, the program is going to be rolled out this year or at the end by October. That will also include Parliamentary as well too. But the catch to this program is you have to be part of a cooperative. You have to make sure that your constituencies are establishing cooperatives so that the Parliamentary assistance can be provided through the cooperative so that it manages the quality as well too. So the other alternate sort of support that you can get while, acknowledging the fact that we have cash flow issues, there has been programs that are being rolled out by the Bougainville Partnership through the community support facilities. These are also assistance that can be driven from the constituency once you put your applications in, and their priority is within the agriculture and cocoa, especially to assist with the fermentary materials and other things to improve the business for cooperatives in the constituencies. I hope I answer your question. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Nikam Tulo, Member Blosuir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Second question to me, directing along Minister of Primary Industries, Fisheries and Marine Resource. This is about aquaculture or inland fish farming. Can the minister inform or deny that there are funds available and accessible through the department and the criteria and process in which to follow to access these fundings? Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Polycarp and Member for Suir. Last year, our offices went to all the region in Bougainville, that's including South, Central, and North, and conducting survey on inland fish farming. So at the moment, again, due to funding constraint and all that, these are the programs that we're actually putting in the activity for it to be supported. What I would advise is you put together your project plan as a constituency member, or if you have programs in place to the department. Also in August, we're tentatively putting a training course for the inland fishing cooperatives as a business plan, and that training this course will be carried out at Tinput's TVET College. And this is specifically for the inland fish farmers to run the inland fish farming as a business for them in the constituencies or within the wards level. So these programs are there. It's important that you provide your planning and all that. I know that you all know that the fishery gets its own funding for building the capacity and all that. Once you put something in place, it gets registered by the appropriate offices. They do go and conduct trainings when a request has been given from a particular district or anything. That we have offices that are conducting inland fish farming program, even for the coastal as well too. So through these programs, the other things that we have also rolled out as of end of last year is rolling out the IFED around the coastal. This makes it easier for the fishermen to go and catch the fish at the particular area where the Fed is actually providing sort of like an habitat for the smaller fish to gather around there, and it attracts the bigger fish. So we've rolled out throughout the shores, Tinputs, including all the islands outside here, including Wakunai, South Bougainville and all that, which makes their life easier for the fishermen and also protects the reef as well too. So in terms of the program in your area, please, give your plan and all that. But aside from that, we have already conducted an aqua survey throughout Bougainville, and we do have the report and everything, which will actually formulate the activities to be rolled out within Bougainville to assist the inland fish farmers and the shore fish farmers as well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Narpla question to Ikamlo Member Blo Suir.
Directing along Mr. Blo DPN, like Honorable President will take note and provide him some answers. This is regarding the tuna project that was originated by Sibunata Coastal Land Owners Association through its subsidiary company Golden Source Limited. The Sibunata Coastal Landowners Association has a membership capacity covering 3 constituencies, namely Taunita Tinputs, Taunita Tiop, and Suir, with a total membership of 8,600 plus. I am aware that the ABG government through BIPICL created a company called Bougainville Tuna to partner with Golden Source Limited in developing the tuna industry in Bougainville 5 years ago, 2019. The partnership concept was given the blessing, and BEC made a decision to fast-track this project. Can the minister inform this House and the people of Taunita Tinputs, Taunita Tiop, and Suir of the current position of this project, which we believe has the potential of bailing ABG out of its financial dilemma? What is the holdup? Thank you.
Mr. Ablo, Fisheries, not API.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for this question again. This tuna project, or it is actually on hold. I think I can actually say it's currently on hold because of so many issues that are in there that is yet to be unpacked. One of the issues is related to land. The other issue is related to in-house matters with the Sibunata and the shoreline and all the people that are in there. So I think the last meeting that we had with the Sibunata people Sibunata committee was for them to go back and then pretty much just get themselves sorted out. There was also an issue with the name in regards to them disagreeing with the business entity called BHOR Tuna, which was established in the last government. And the name was purposely, or the identity of, sorry, the name registration of BHOR Tuna was established because it was going to be the name of the product itself. We can't put on the shelf Sibunata tin fish. We have to put BHOR Tuna as a product to be put on the shelf because BHOR represents Bougainville and all that. So in the meantime, there's still issues that have to be ironed out. But on the positive note, there was a trip that was done by it doesn't mean that like the department is not interested in pursuing this and not dealing with this issue. 2 weeks ago, or last week, there was a delegation of team that went up to CPIC to go and see the South Sea Tuna cannery as part of the fact-finding trip. So we had to receive the report as to how the trip actually went. So it's for them to go and see the establishment of the tuna itself and to understand what it takes to run the tuna industry. On the other side, at the national government, the tuna industries in country in Papua New Guinea are currently facing a crisis, financial crisis, to manage the tuna industry. So these are some of the things that, as the economic sector, we're considering whether, in terms of what we are prioritizing, do we go down the tuna cannery, or do we actually, generate the fishery economy or revenue through other means, which is either through the benefit sharing or vessel days or all the other things. I will actually elaborate further when I'm giving my initial statement if we have an opportunity for this afternoon. But in terms of your question and all that, yes, there is still, but we need to sort out the house issues with everything that is there. There is no shortcut to any of these things. We're yet to complete our and approve our Bougainville Fishery Management Act through the next Parliament sitting. So hopefully that will then help us to guide us to do all these things. But then it goes back to us prioritizing what is the economic. We don't have any fishing license. If we do have fishing vessels and all that, that will then feed the industry to have a tuna factory in Bougainville. Currently, we don't own any of those supporting mechanisms to support the BHOR tuna industry, the fishing or the Bougainville tuna industry in Bougainville. Thank you, Speaker.
You may come up, written questions for oral answers. But you may go along. Next business, the Honorable Leader of Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I seek leave of the House to move a motion without notice to suspend standing orders 130, subsection 5A, to allow the Minister for Finance to present the supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, is leave granted? Leave is granted. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Standing Orders 130, subsection 5A, requiring 7 days' notice to be given to members, be suspended to allow the Minister for Finance to present the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023 and proceed with the first reading and the second reading speech. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, the question is this motion, law suspending all standing orders, be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honorable the Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I table a bill for an act entitled Supplementary Budget Bill 2023 and move that the bill be now read the first time.
Honorable members, Minister, I present him this supplementary bill. The question is that the bill be now read the first time. Those in favor say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. The clerk.
Mr. Speaker, first reading on the bill for an act entitled Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023.
The Honorable the Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Supplementary Budget Bill 2023 be read a second time.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to make this short but significant statement on the floor of this Honorable House during the occasion of the debate of the 2023 ABG Supplementary Budget, as duly approved by the Bougainville Executive Council on Wednesday, 28 June 2023. This statement is also being made in conjunction with the tabling of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023 to this Honorable House as required under Section 66 of the Bougainville Constitution. Mr. Speaker, as a legal requirement by our very own ABG laws, this Honorable House has the mandate for raising and expenditure of public finance by the ABG, which is subject to the authorization and control of the Bougainville House of Representatives. Furthermore, it must be regulated by a Bougainville law as clearly articulated under Section 222(1) subsection of the Bougainville Public Finance Management and Administration Act 2014. The Bougainville law requires under this part is now being tabled for debate and passing by the House. And this proposed law is the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023. Mr. Speaker, as stipulated under Section 155, subsection 2C of the Bougainville Constitution, for which fiscal year there shall be a Bougainville budget comprising C, such other supplementary budget and appropriation for expenditure as are necessary. I underscore this fact because I am seeking the approval of this Honorable House for a supplementary budget and not a normal annual budget. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore clear that the tabling of a supplementary appropriation bill 2023 meets the requirements of the Bougainville Constitution and the Bougainville Public Finance Management and Administration Act 2014, that the statement and the tabling of this supplementary budget are within the law and relevant legislation arrangement. There can be no doubt that so it is well within the legal context and statutory requirements of the autonomous Bougainville ABG. Therefore, the contents of this statement establishes a guide for orderly management of the ABG financial and other resources in the next 6 months of this fiscal year. Mr. Speaker, one of the most critical tasks that has been given to us as members and leaders of this honorable house is to prepare and mobilize our people for independence in the next future, near future, with the clear message that our people have given us when 97.7 voted for independence in 2019. The combined responsibility and challenges to deliver the people wish will indeed be formidable. Mr. Speaker, as I have indicated above, this statement will be very brief and is designed to highlight the key elements as to why we need to have a supplementary budget at this time of the year. Having made those opening remarks, I'm very privileged and humble to present to this House and to the people of Bougainville the third supplementary budget of the Toroma Nisera government. The first was delivered on the 10th August 2021. Mr. Speaker, let me now deliver this brief ministerial statement on the 2022 ABG supplementary budget. From the outset, the 2023 supplementary budget is an increased budget of 736,679,000 from 679,179,000, which was passed by this Honorable House in December 22. The increase includes, okay, this is the increase of the supplementary budget, 57,500,000, of which new funding, actual cash, which was received after this Honorable House passed the 2023 budget. Let me draw your attention to a series of events and factors which has inevitably led to the compilations and tabling of 2023 supplementary to this Honorable House. Mr. Speaker, 23rd Friday, December 2022, this Honorable House passed the 2023 ABG budget of 679,179,000. After the budget was passed, the national government, through the Department of Treasury and Finance, released a bulk and or balances of development budget RDC of 129 million, 30 million PM commitment, 99 million PIP to the ABG, of which 50 million, an amount of 23.31 million was reappropriated in the 2023. This is the balance from the used 50 million only given me last year. The other one only Rausen. Mr. Speaker, if members may recall, I handed out a 2022 supplementary budget in October of last year, a reduced budget of 50 million. As a result of the national government cutting 50 million from the ABG Restoration and Development Grant, 100 million, that's from the outstanding. With no announcement, the national government reinstated that 50 million and releasing of the funding on the 28th December 2022, well after this Honorable House passed the 2023 ABG budget on the 23rd December 2022. So it came late after December budget was passed. Included in the funds that were received after the 2023 ABG budget was passed by this Honorable House were the following. Restoration and Development Grant, only Rausim cut him last year, now giving me back now. Atolls Resettlement Scheme, 7 million. We got it straight after budget was also approved in January. Display money under the description of the vote below display. I am lo halabi mo lo. Atolls lo purchase ship. BSP shares dividend, 500,000. Mr. Speaker, this is the primary reason why the ABG needs to account for 57.5 million of additional funds which received after the 23 ABG budget was passed, and therefore must hand down the 2023 ABG supplementary budget for for transparency and also accountability purposes. And also, after we approve this, now Government Bloyumi can start using, expanding. It is also important for members to note that the 2023 supplementary budget affects only the development budget and not the recurrent component. The 50 million is part of the 22, as I said earlier, RDC reappropriation fund or balances, but could not be included in the 2023 budget, was already passed by this Honorable House. The 7 million for the PIP and the 0.5 million from the internal revenue were also received after the 23 ABG budget was passed. Mr. Speaker, as a responsible government, the Bougainville Executive Council, through the leadership of Honorable Ismail, Member of House of Representatives, is tabling and recommending this supplementary budget on behalf of the people of Bougainville to this Honorable House. Without dwelling too much on the details of 2023 budget, it is being distributed among specific priority areas of the ABG, and these are, okay, this come through the normal process, the vetting sectors, or even putting only come through the CACC clear vetting, and also ministerial priority committee vetting too, and also yesterday, small changes, the BEC, chapter 50 million. So even goals and governance and administration, 13,460,000, health 3,300,000, economic development 8,100,000, education 5,340,000, law and justice 6,200,000, infrastructure 12,050,000, community services 1,550,000, total 50 million under this 50 million. Public Investment Program, PIP, Atolls Resettlement Program, M7 million. I want to make it clear, this more conditional grant long national government budget Bloyumi. C, internal revenue, ministers logistics support, 500,000 long display because of the past 2 years you may been kat money lo halabi mo minister lo baim car longol, so we're putting this 500,000. Yeah, this is coming from the dividend from BSP. Mr. Speaker, the main revenue sources are summarized in table 1. 2022 Restoration Development Grant and 50, Public Investment Program 7, BSP share dividend 500, 57,500. Mr. Speaker, in summary, therefore, a total increase of 57,500 has been made to the 2023 ABG budget, which brings the budget to a total revised appropriation of 736,679,000, an increase from the original appropriation 2022-23 ABG budget of 679,107,000. This summary is depicted in the table below. 2022 supplementary appropriation. Original last year, 679. Original supplementary 57,500,000, and total now 736,679,000. Additional revenue no cut, because this is not a revised budget and belong supplementary as well, triple component of new money. The key components of 2023 supplementary budget, major priorities, Mr. Speaker. Let me now go briefly through the main component of 2023 supplementary budget so that the honorable members and other people may appreciate the increase and allocation that were made. As I have mentioned earlier, the 2020 supplementary budget affects the development and not the recurrent. Many of these priorities but projects were not included in the main 2023 supplementaries are now being reinstated in this supplementary budget. Some of the key priorities in terms of projects and programs by sector are summarized below. Okay, I'm sampling all of this plan now, even go projects. Governance and implementation under the schedule, you should have it in front of you, is reintegrated underneath the government and administration, reintegration of Bougainville veterans with an allocation of 300,000, international prawns with an allocation of $500,000, ABC constituency development grant with an allocation of this plan liklik halibim long at least start off on them this year because internal revenue in nasa kamgut. Independence ready monitoring, evaluation and declaration 100,000, ABC by-election long South Bougainville veteran seats, allocated amount of 2.5, outstanding veteran commitments with an allocation of 1 million. That figure has been changed through the BEC, Mr. Speaker. It's 1 million, not 2 as on my statement. Outstanding OBEC commitment, 1.5 million. Outstanding ABC commitment to service providers with an allocation of 1 million. This plan, we give him priority because you play looking at policy and now only got him gate below you mean. You know, all service providers, especially all veterans. Now all come na talk balkam burkim all office na kisim all computer na karim all house. Constituency Assembly, okay, this is most important because of the statement of the President Masad yesterday. We have to establish Constitution Assembly, time law process, law constitution, time will complete him. Health, Bougainville Public Health Project, 1.5, although they asked for 3 million, but we can only afford to give them 1.5 at this stage. Completion of Arawa School of Nursing, this school now, but convert him into a Bougainville Nursing College, next level. And this infrastructure, the most lo Papua New Guinea, big project where first class lo all kita institution lo nursing college lo Papua New Guinea. Economic development, establish of capital insurance Bougainville, $500,000. Bougainville tuna industry, 200,000. Bivicol operation support, $500,000. Bougainville labor mobility, $500,000. This plan will support him all line by select him all pick him all fruit overseas, I think Australia. Drafting of four Bougainville land laws, because behind him here the decision below BEC, support him government below minister below lands now, will come up with law now below ground below Bougainville. Law below you Mr. F, Kuruwina land acquisition is being allocated an amount of 1.5 million lopeches. But my contribution to the cabinet is normally only must work in valuation. So when I value him ground, but this figure, we put him until all this valuation determine him to value ground because I want to make it clear. Ground niya gaman. Business agricultural lease or special business and ground gaman. So this man has got a title, like Salim Yumi, backlog is ground. There are other ways, law, you can acquire him too, but I don't want to touch on it. Mineral and energy resources and legal framework, $500,000. Education, Bougainville education policy development, 100,000. Review of Bougainville education policy, 190. Construction of School of Excellence, 2 million. Okay, this is the one been on the, agenda below you mean. Law and order infrastructure development, 400,000. Bougainville Constitution Planning Committee, 2 million. This is to complete this year's funding, only exhausting. Now, me like me continue this plan until only will come one time first draft or second trap, and then next year we can allocate him, and then we put in the constitution, nuclear constitution, igolo, the Bougainville Constituent Assembly. Infrastructure, ABG litigation, you got plenty of court order stuff, long contractual, all programs in the past 10 years, where court give me order, now you got ability to pay him, so that's why we put this money and try to halve him long. At least reduce him. No good to make him not court order, I got interest on top long. Bougainville Police Infrastructure and Capacity Building, 800,000. This blah police, Bougainville Police Service Operation Challenge. Lo halibin Minister of Police, lo speech long and this week, lo complete in this program. So because now the cash is tough, me like give him long. 6, infrastructure, construction of ABG President's Office Complex, $500,000. This is an ongoing project. Will reappear again. Stop low budget too, but will reappear again next year until we complete him. Redevelopment of Bougainville DPI station, $1 million. Procurement of desalination plants. This plan long BEC approve him. Actually, big amount, but because of the ability long capacity of this budget, we're putting $6 million. Amolo machine along atolls, balibam na. I think sa tanim solowara igolo wara na olim atolls can get drinking water now na olisla. And by come to lo island lo petats. So now mi hamamas lo display too because island lo mi lo poran too is included. Thank you. Feasibility study for Pangara River Bridge redevelopment, $500,000. This is the study. It's funded under the 2020 budget. Display envelope feasibility study. Okay? Display program. Community development, integrated community development program, 100,000. Family protection policy, 100,000. Me like him 2 family law going sa ito or marital laws too. 2023 Bougainville Games Outstanding Commitment, 400,000. Display a games all holim lawakunay na lukukim biris. So we have to address it. So you sabi, you me human being. Mr. Speaker, other priorities in the 2023 supplementary budget are in three regions of Bougainville, which comprise mainly infrastructure and economic development projects, and are summarized as follows. This plan here projects only been rousing below 50 million below last year. We are now putting it back. So, me like you may understand it. So, time me put him back. North Bougainville, 2.2 million. Central, 2.950. South Bougainville, 2.650. Mr. Speaker, the details of the program and projects are contained in the schedule. You should have it in front of you too. In the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023, and members of this Honorable House are asked to refer to the schedule for more information. Mr. Speaker and members of this Honorable House, please allow me now to turn very briefly to the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023 so that I can clarify what bill fix and what it requires as us leaders to pass this important bill during the debate of 2023 supplementary. It's just a small budget. Mr. Speaker, the purpose of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023 is to provide a sum of $57,500,000 for the year ending 31st, 23. The current financial year, and as required under Section 6 of the Bougainville Constitution, this Act increases appropriation for items in the Appropriation 2023 Act 2022 by $57,500,000. Okay, the Act will increase the reappropriation of this amount for the purpose identified in this bill. Mr. Speaker, the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023 has three main parts, which are as follows. One, increase appropriation, in the grants 290 by 50 million. That's including 50 million restoration development grant and 7 million below PIP. That's 57 million. Part two, long increases appropriation in the 2023 internal revenue, $500,000, and dividend belong CS, BSP CS. Part three, to understand it, directs that this act to reappropriate a total of 37 million 37.9 million. This player emblong reappropriating na only reprioritizing. So in other words, it's not new money. We just reappropriating na reprioritizing. That's what it means. The allocation of 57.5 million represents an increase in item identified in Schedule 2.1 of the bill. Mr. Mr. Speaker, the 2023 supplementary budget is about redirecting the government policy and implementing towards aggressive preparation work on the post-referendum consultation for independence with the PNC national government and possibly international organization, the United Nations, as HE been talked. As HE said yesterday, if option number 3, you can go along and taking this issue internationally. That's what it means. The priorities of the 2023 supplementary budget have not deviated much from those 2022-23 budget as our government wants to maintain consistency and strengthen these key priorities, which will enhance and assist in navigating our journey towards independence. All our key priorities remain intact. What it means is the projects for 2023, it's a very good budget. Once the money will come, they have major big impact on people of Bougainville. Whilst others have been deferred in 2024 for implementation. On the same token, we have 6 months remaining in the 2023 to implement the programs and projects portrayed in the 2023 supplementary budget. This means, we have only 4 months or 5 months. If some of these big projects, we have the capacity to implement them. That's basically what my statement is all about. Mr. Speaker, members are reminded once again that this supplementary budget is aligned with the President's 6-point development strategy, which pronounced in 2020, and with a special emphasis on the agreed roadmap approved for JSB in Wabek, Enga province in July 2021. Connect with the agreed roadmap is the heavy emphasis, and that is being placed by the ABG on the effort being undertaken by the Constitutional Planning Commission, as I said earlier, in developing a new constitution for an independent Bougainville. That is very important. Walk about the political journey. This priority policy activity will be continued to be funded until a new constitution for the people of Bougainville is completed and endorsed by this honorable House, which will convert into the Bougainville Constituent Assembly to adopt and endorse. The 2023 supplementary budget is therefore consistent with and further strengthen efforts that are being made by the ABG with the national government on our journey towards independence in less than 5 years. Mr. Speaker, what is the budget, supplementary budget? With these few remarks, I now commend the 2023 ABG supplementary budget to this honorable House. May God bless us all Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister for Finance. Leader of Government Business, I think you can go ahead on them debate or this second reading speech from Minister along supplementary budget. Na adjourn him or you can debate him. Now pass him today. I'll seek guidance from the Leader of Government Business and the Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and members of the House, time me look backside, me looking most and plenty long old seat and empty. Why you may come up tomorrow? Supposed to be adjourning. Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Speaker, I move that the House take note of the statement by the Minister.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, what's your point of order?
Meeting also, because tomorrow is another day. Maybe some statements or debates can be conducted, and then MIPLA go out. There can be some guidance made so that there are certain considerations that can be made for tomorrow too. Maybe some discussion can be made, Lodisla statement now, na MIPLA adjourn for tomorrow. I'm thinking Blomita, so thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And I think that's what the Leader of Government Business is trying to do. Long adjourning this second reading debate. I'll come back tomorrow. Is that correct? Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I think the point I'm making is a bit different from one of something Leader of Government.
Can you speak up a bit, please?
One of something Miuklo suggesting is different from basically adjourning the debate to tomorrow. Miuklo talk suggesting also some discussions be held now, and if there are certain considerations that need to be made on this particular budget, they can be taken into consideration. So MIPLA come tomorrow and MIPLA pass him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, we can continue with the debate where some member only can talk, and then adjourn him debate igolo tomorrow. So we can have a debate on the second reading. Lo tete na biyain we adjourn him display debate. Lo come back tomorrow.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Member Fukono.
Me at Piting or Shem. You got some ministers, so we got ministerial statement this time. If we can take this time, long only working presentation, long ministerial statement, and then full day tomorrow or half day tomorrow, we come debating this by supplementary budget, because we need to have a good look at it tonight. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House take note and we adjourn the debate for tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the question is that the second reading debate on the supplementary bill be adjourned until tomorrow. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clerk. Ministerial statements. The Minister for Community Development, Community Government.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to give an update on the implementation of my ministerial commitments as issued on the 28th March 2023 to this Honorable House. Mr. Speaker, before I proceed, I pay tribute to one of Bougainville's senior public servant, late Kamariki Puara, who passed away on 11th June 2023 at Buka General Hospital after battling long illness. Late Kamariki Puara served in the former North Solomons Provincial Government as Patrol Officer, CAP, Community Government Liaisons Officer, and then within the Autonomous Bougainville Government Administration as Training Officer, Director Corporate Services, Acting Deputy Chief Secretary Operations, Secretary Personnel Management and Administrative Services, and Acting Secretary Community Government. Serving almost 40 years in public service, late Kamariki Pwara is regarded one of Bougainville's pioneer public service in a post-conflict era. He was laid to rest on Freed Island on 18 June 2023, and it is our prayer that his soul rest in peace. Mr. Speaker, under good governance, the Department of Community Government was instructed to undertake review of Community Government Act 2016 to ascertain access and integration of Council of Chiefs within constituencies, clan council of assembly. A review is underway by the department through a pool of experienced former public servants led by Mr. Simon Kene, who was tasked with reviewing the Community Government Act 2016 with reference to the role of Council of Chiefs and the urban community governments. Mr. Speaker, the Department of Community Government has maintained the Public Service Code of Conduct as a yardstick in driving moral character building through Christian and customary code values of honesty, respect, peace, accountability, transparency, and integrity. I fully recommend the same spirit of service to be shared within Bougainville Public Service. Mr. Speaker, within my directives, I've urged close monitoring of department staff at the district management teams through an agreed performance management framework that holds regional directors, district coordinators, community government managers at the constituency level accountable to service delivery and regulatory functions. Failure to comply with such directives will result in appropriate disciplinary measures. Mr. Speaker, a minimum standard for all 5 sectors, social, economic, infrastructure, governance, and law and order, as covered by 14 times department, is developed by the Department of Community Government for rollout into all 13 districts. Mr. Speaker, the re-establishment of Bougainville Regional Disaster Committee, chaired by Chief Secretary, and setting up of 13 times district disaster management teams now adds a comprehensive all-of-government approach to disaster preparedness, response monitoring, and evaluation process. I acknowledge the Cabinet's approval of the $1 million to be included, whether in this supplementary budget or the 718 revenues that I know for sure there's new cash available in the ABG supplementary budget of 2023, an endorsement of $5 million annually to be packed with the disaster and emergency program. Mr. Speaker, communication is underway with the National Disaster Committee for additional timely financial support to the Bougainville Disaster and Emergency Program through support of regional member who is also special envoy on climate change issues affecting Bougainville. Mr. Speaker, a Bougainville disaster team is now in place that also unites all international development partners to support ABG preparedness and response to both human and natural disasters. Mr. Speaker, I have directed the Department of Community Government to conduct a review into Nissan Atoll's relief supplies program to ensure sustainable approach is taken in building food security resilience in the affected communities. Our people in Nissan Atoll's region and other parts of Bougainville depend on immediate food relief supplies to be provided in times of both natural and human disaster. As a responsible government, we must ensure adequate reserve food supplies are available to immediately respond through the regional food storage facility. In addition to that, I'd also like to make mention law statement when we come through law grievances debate. out of the 1 million relief money that was given by the ABG through the budget this year, 2023, there has been serious governance around the expenditure. And I'd like this Honorable House to take note that it is one thing to demand the government to keep supporting our people who are in need, but it's another thing as responsible government to ensure that there is governance in not just getting the money, but also the expenditure of how we make sure that everything works in a way that is a promising, sustainable plan after that. Mr. Speaker, through partnership with the National Maritime Safety Authority, the ABG Small Craft Board members are sworn in April this year, and have been sworn in this year. Empowerment of community governments. Mr. Speaker, in my ministerial directive upon taking the office, I also emphasize on improved community government budget submissions with clear implementation, monitoring, and evaluation framework. I hereby report to this House that I have approved 37 community government budgets with an estimated annual appropriation of 6 million kina. There are still 10 community governments to submit annual budgets. The community government budgets includes both annual recurrence and internal revenue. While the annual appropriations seem promising, governance mechanism will be put in place through budget monitoring and evaluation to ensure the target internal revenues from trading licenses, liquor licensing, ed tax collection, and other revenues are generated at the community government level for fiscal self-reliance. Mr. Speaker, as we prepare for 2024 annual budget appropriation, a proposal for constituency development grants at 1 million annually will now be considered. An administrative accountability and performance system be put in place to give public confidence in service delivery. I seek Minister of Finance. Thank you, Minister of Finance. You are in staff, Mr. Speaker, and Treasury support and leadership in this matter. As such, direct financial intervention through budgetary process will complement the 47 community government budgets. Mr. Speaker, upon collation of ed tax collection report in consultation with Minister for Finance and Treasury, I will present a detailed report on its progress in the third quarter sitting. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I highlight the improvement of town management within Buka Urban Community Government and Arawa Community Government. Both urban town management have seen improvement in partnership to ensure the regulatory functions are in place. Despite the progress, there is still need for more clarity through enactment of the Town Authority Act. Mr. Speaker, I hereby acknowledge the successful transfer of the Pacific Balance Fund shares that's worth an estimate 1 million kina from Buka Urban Community Government to Arawa Urban Community Government through a successful signing of the shares transfer agreement on the 23rd of June 2023. The process has commenced to ensure the smooth transfer of dividend payments. I applaud the cooperation among both community governments to ensure shares transfer is done amicably without further delay. Mr. Speaker, while I appreciate the effort of my department to ensure compliance with the process, I hereby seek such illegal transfer of shares to benefit few people in authority must not be repeated again. Mr. Speaker, I hereby inform you all on the joint agency effort undertaken to deal with water contamination issue in Arawa Town water supply system. In terms of chemical analysis done by the National Agriculture Research Institute Laboratory, there is presence of mercury in water system exceeding the required standard of drinking water. Mercury is banned
is a banned substance given its health effects, hence the immediate intervention is hereby demanded from all key stakeholders within Arawa urban community government. The Arawa water supply system is in dire need of immediate upgrade and maintenance with alternative water sources identified. Mr. Speaker, the immediate steps taken by the Department of Community Government with the support of all key stakeholders is to disseminate key messages on the water contamination issue as provided by Water PNG and National Department of Health. Secondly, immediate steps are now underway to provide community water tanks within the 6 wards of our urban community government. All business houses and town residents will also be encouraged to purchase their own water tanks. Through consultation with Water PNG Limited and Department of Technical Services, there is collaboration to identify alternative water sources underground and upgrade of existing town water sewage system. I urge collaboration efforts to our town urban community government to deal with the situation in an integrated approach. Ward remuneration package update. Mr. Speaker, it is my pleasure to inform this Honorable House that the funds have been made available by the national government to the National Department of Provincial and Local Level Government Affairs to facilitate monthly allowances for ABG ward members. Through partnership with the Office of the Regional Member and the Minister for Internal Security and the Department of Community Government have commenced vetting and confirmation of all elected ward members. I think I'm on top more of what I said the last time. And account details to be included in the monthly allowances as approved monthly allowances for the ward members will be 600, while 700 for chairpersons and deputy chairs. It is hoped that most ward members receive their monthly allowances by the end of third quarter this year. Policies and legislations, Mr. Speaker, on the ministry policies and legislations, the BEC will deliberate on policy submission entitled Establishment of Regional Development Authority. The endorsement of this policy will set framework for drafting of the Regional Development Authority legislation that will deal with 1, the unlawful application of District Development Authority Act 2014 in Bougainville, integrate all development funding under the Provincial Service Improvement Program or PSIP and District Service Improvement Program within the Regional Development Authority to improve the one plan, one budget mission for our independence. Mr. Speaker, the other priority policies and legislation in consultation and drafting stages are as follows. Declaration of the 4th region of Nissan and Atolls is still in consultation process due to certain implications. 2, the Town Authority Act, Disaster and Emergency Authority Act, Cemetery Act to adopt and be adopted. So Member of Atolls, take note, and adopted from PNG. Gaming and Control Boards Act to be adopted and adapted from PNG. 6, the Fire Services Act, which at the moment is at the point of a memorandum of understanding in motion. 5 is partnership with development partners. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to announce that through Bougainville Partnerships Program, as funded under PNG Australia Partnership of DFED, 5 times community government buildings have been opened to date. That includes Rao, Aku, Tonsu, Selau, and Chitalato community governments. There are still 14 community government buildings at construction phase and nearing completion. It is planned that all community government buildings be completed before the end of this year. The program is part of bringing the government to our people through administration of the community government executive committees and assemblies. Mr. Speaker, the Bougainville Partnership through the Small Grants Project awarded 40 times projects to NGOs, church groups, schools, associations throughout the whole of region and will be closely monitored through the Department of Community Government during its implementation phase. Additionally, 6 community governments will be targeted in a new Bougainville Partnership Community Government Institutional Strengthening Program. That is Tewa, Torau, Makis, Lugakei, Nisan, and Nuguria. An additional 4 times community governments will be recommended by the department to be part of the first cohort of ward-based projects. This project will assist a ward within a selected community government to draft their plan and then identify projects that from the plan to be funded. Potential community projects include market structure, access feeder roads, 50-meter suspended bridge, 10-pole single school building, 20-pole solar light street lighting, ward administration buildings, community-based social support project, 2 times tank water security structure, water microgrid, hydro and solar microgrid. I have directed the Department of Community Government to craft out a stakeholder engagement that will guide partnership arrangement at the second-tier level of government. Research into constituency political boundaries. This activity is currently being implemented by my ministerial staff, inquiring into pillars that I have laid out in my first ministerial statement. The importance of this exercise is to properly demarcate our constituency political boundaries. This goes directly in line with our independence readiness to ensure all our political boundaries correspond with Bougainville's different cultural groupings and contextualized to our governance system, particularly traditional government and language groupings. This is outlined in the preamble of Bougainville Constitution and Section 51 of the Bougainville Constitution on traditional systems of government. Work is underway and a detailed report will be presented back to my department and relevant stakeholders regarding the political boundaries. I will also be able to inform this Honorable House about this exercise, and Kongara will be one of the constituencies that will be immediately, by me going silo partnership one time because of how proactive they are in terms of their nation building approaches. With that, I ask all the members of this House, I will ask all the members of this House to provide relevant information on top of the first attempt that the ministry did, Mr. Speaker. Lobami pla work one time all executive officers, all get 40 members inside Lodisla House, but it was not successful as the executive officers wanted allowances for working along the policy lines where Mipla like lo work one time, lo come up in what would be a position that my department can take in terms of independence readiness. I commend this statement to this Honorable House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Leader of government business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House take note of the statement by the Minister. And then we can, community government is a second-tier government, and it's an important second-tier government that we need to make sure that we debate this statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, statement lo Minister, stop lo floor. Leader of government business talk. Moving motion lo take note of paper and open allow him lo debate him lo floor. Suppose all members are like talk. The Honorable Bablo Haku. Member for Haku.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Me one Plamani supporting strong through all initiatives Minister of the Community Government in Yoklong come up in. Because you will not picture him too much. Title only give him all community governments one time neglect support. Because these are all community governments and number two government representing through all the people like me. I think what we really actually need to do, no review him. When we suitable straight long passing where all the line blue me like him. We actually review, now we look whether it should be considered to be a standalone government where MUAT can operate also in government. Now, what I'm implying is that must not come and need law, community government department, and yet it must run so that they can be properly featured under the budget, the ABG, number one. Number two, so that they can attract qualified people to run that government. Number three, institutional capacity building in terms of human power and the buildings, very important. This law, three prerequisite requirements where we must look long in. When we look in Pinis 30,000 or lousy 50,000 kina, administrative costs as well. For them to function, for them to be realized and recognized as a government, you mean no work long come up. And tap long him. There is also yet another down the line, or chiefs belong to we need to redefine their traditional system of authorities, how they can be connected to the community governments. Now we will survive them, revive them on this plan. Yeah, we tend to deviate by importing foreign models without really actually look long, objectives and directive principles of the existing constitution of the ABG. You may look this for something. Now you may continue look all foreign models coming to exploit us. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member Long Baba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think most of the things that maybe like Tok was already stated in my debate earlier today, but me like point him out so 3 plus something where this last statement and me look long him. But firstly, let me acknowledge the statement of the Minister and continued support at the community government level. I think we can only work together when the Mogada divisions flow government in order to deliver building confidence among the people. Firstly, Mr. Speaker, me like point him out as all. One time is like work me plan lo community government. Meeting also me plan must really look at a long-term restructure of the community government system. Me plan need to identify more gaps. I think one of those important things me thing also has to be considered is the difference demarcations between all political leaders from who are mandated and then the administrative responsibility under the Department of Community Government. I think in terms of all leaders from people who are mandated leaders, I believe that we should look at an extension of the parliamentary service to deal with them remuneration now this is something all mandated leaders. I think that responsibility should be played at this level. I think Mibla must look, make sure that system and me put him all mandated leaders under the law deal with them all affairs as leaders, but not as administrative officials, but as leaders. And at the same time deal with them all administrative officials, law community government, also more community government manager, now financial clerk, now another staff. And one blah. The second thing that I thought should be considered in terms of district maybe reorganization is maybe look at what the efficiency of the system before the crisis, where we had district coordinators or district managers at that time, who were called district managers, where all officers, whether you were part of the DPI or whether you were part of one division, where you're part of the police, every sector of government, as long as you were within the district, you were answerable to the KIAP or the district manager. I think the current system of management at the level has sort of made district managers very ineffective. I think they are more of observers and probably all man is writing or report and recommendations. Nobody actually who is part of a department is reporting to these district managers or district coordinators. I think Mipla need lo strong in this lahap so that we have officers. Let me take, for example, Bana district. All police law have, they are not accountable. They report directly to the commissioner. Well, law plus system, they did report to the manager, also report long commissioner, but through the manager at that level. And I think that is a district affair. And I think district affairs should be looked after and managed by the district coordinator rather than him sit down and you have officers sitting out in the districts doing whatever they want. And, you know, they turn up for work whenever they want. They leave whenever they want. They talk about resourcing and issues. These are also other issues, but the district coordinator has no say over how will he operate the district. I think also, and I acknowledge again the work that the minister is doing in the community governments, supporting community government infrastructure. Mipla need to look also in terms of one of something Mipla put in place resourcing, lo supporting more communities blom plan. Me true, me no sabe, hamamas true, me no agree. Lo, this la concept where donor partners only throw my funding come lo ground na Mipla ran o semol. It looks like we've thrown a bone and everybody's trying to rush to this very minimal funding. And we as leaders are again asked, you need to apply for these funds. And we are leaders. There need to be allocations that MIPLA got access long and we are to receive. Meeting also very important consideration. Maybe, and as I said before, MIPLA need to enhance how we're actually dealing with our partnerships at the community government level. The Minister from the Community Government meeting also too. Collaboration, I think we are moving there, but meeting also, we really need to pinpoint the weaknesses in terms of collaboration. I'm not going to immediately pinpoint them. I think those are obvious. There are obvious challenges. I think we need to just talk about them. Particularly this collaboration between national leaders plan our projects or delivering the constituencies versus the priorities where the ABJ as a government sets and particularly through the community government. Now, something like talk me how much true law. Maybe we no harem good, but I think me harem liglig law a 1 million, which you mentioned in terms of support to the constituencies. And I think in terms of the restoration development program, where House has been passing resolution long and really that funding is actually to be in collaboration with the community government structure, long planning and implementation. I think Department too should really support this moving forward. Another something, last plan now, is the traditional system of government where Section 51 law Bougainville Constitution and we talk long traditional systems of government. I think we really also need to think ahead. We plan to start considering an adoption of building that traditional system of government to formalize it as per the Constitution. Now you may got the second tier government, but I think it's that level now where planet chiefs may talk long all key leaders, those decision makers who may talk to one them all only really raising the issue of formalizing the system, the traditional system of governance, so that then we give him all this mandate and authority now all communities, give him all look savvy. You got this debate between, you're a chief, now suppose you go inside the formal system, now you're not simple, no good you less law work, and something you must make in the community blue. But I think it is fair, as per consistent with the Constitution, law people also considering this law. I want them this law, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We like contribute to law statement law Minister of Law Community Government. I mean, I talk about that me hearing or talk me must at least some something by improve This understanding by move. Number one, allowance belong all ward members. Any good news? Me harap di sana na ilukosan ba yung sample improvement the performance belong all community ward members. I want to question from the solo by one of and by long term. Okay, thank you. And by long term. So in this regards, by me looking sample improvement the performance belong all ward members. Any good plus threat. So me thank you department law pushing this law and me long about the agenda. Now apply constituency development fund of 1 million kina. No can consider him allocating. Finding some money inside the system actually allocating constituencies. All the working work and then come up with a modality how by me manage him. How by managing because it's so important. The time law independence ready. Constituencies by using the working more development work. Or kind development programs inside the constituency. So any good news? That minister work progressing. So I think you just allocate it. Not consider him allocating constituencies you may need in this law. This law 1 million kina per constituency. In which case it's possible. So allocate it. I mean like move forward with him. Now comment don't funding infrastructures. I think Minasa one bill too much of the application process. Those constituencies miss out. All one kind constituencies. All one kind. Come up with a modality where perhaps we could cost share. We apply to the national members. All this system, at least you got donor willing to put some money. But come up with a cost sharing arrangement where all 33 constituencies by cutting projects. Not just a few, but all get that on a cost share basis. On a cost share basis, you can find some money through national members or through some ABC process or even that 1 million kina. So that all get the territory constituencies by repealing something. Some miss out. I mean no kutla. I'll comment long on the ward members, the female chairs. This arrangement to Minasa one bill too much, where females, just because of the law, they are being appointed as chairs. In many cases, some are female or not capable of running community government. Me no down in Point Blongol. True, me no down in Point Blongol. They just not capable. So we need to change it. By look long minister, by me work one time when we change it. And we actually appoint females on merit where they are capable of managing workload work. They are capable females. So that is so important because me looking too, females workload work one time or males, only work a problem. True problem. Relationship problem will come up. Na mi no kupla. Emi no kupla. Pas mouse na talk problem. Relationship cases will come up. The constituency below me, and it's not good. Because rumors of this are so. I mean, equally apply on other constituencies too. We need to change it, honorable members. I mean, no custom below me. Some people already imposing this idea below me, just to access some kind of funding. So me no like him. All Mary below me, only must appointed on merit, only must go to law on them. Election process, only must compete. That's all. This just allocating or appointing on merit just because you got this law on them. I mean no, it's not doing them justice too. I mean no kupla long all working heavy. All working responsibility we all not capable of managing and running affairs below. What?
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Minister, a point of order.
The female chairs are elected from among the female ward members. So to assume that females are taking that seat because they are females is wrong.
Honorable Member for South Nasoy, I think I take the point of order, and it's a very valid point of order. Please try and rephrase your reference to the women chairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Point taken. Point taken. So I think Minister supporting you law some improvements by me looking law community government by me in terms of projects now in terms of resources that by come that 1 million Guinea is a good news. It's something that all members see Dr. Longem, and in terms of ward members being on payroll, Kupla. Sometimes this comment these few remarks, me comment him statement law you, Minister. Thank you.
Member of Law, Atols.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Before me making my talk, long observation below me, or statement below Minister, we first of all like thanking government, long support. Firstly, to the Vice President, on behalf of the government, long attend, long funeral, arrangement, long me plan want them late. Public servants, believe me, late, BHOR Kamariki. Thank you too much, long name, long government. We like giving look sorry to, long minister, long community government, long tabling. Now give him look sorry, long one leader. One workman blame me, public servants. So even saving government blame me. In the heydays of the provincial government, we come in a long restoration program, enough today. We like to thank you, like you, Minister, na department like you. Na me like to thank you too, long former Minister of Community Government, for all the work that you've been helping me plan throughout the region, na especially long me too, long island, especially long time no good. I'd like to thank you. Me hamamas tumas. Long talk long me, long time long late, funeral service long late, for a Kamariki, me making one public remark all the same. Not only the leaders that need to be given special look survey, like members, elected members. We, the public servants too, who serve the government of the day, must be given the same treatment. So me like looking, all display come up across the board. Whether you belong the island or you belong mainland, must be given the same treatment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Me like talk all the same too, that disaster management office, where community government look out him, is very important, very, very most paramount and important office. That is the office that care for every disaster, any uncalled for disaster, or anything that happened within our environment or within the space of our authority. All of a sudden, only must be given the kind of funding that this office deserves to have. Every budget, misalnya talk long every budget presentation blame me. Misalnya talk all of them. The disaster office is always given 200,000 over. What's that for? Don't look out in Barat region or whatever happened? Or is it to your knowledge? Am I right? To me, no God. This office should be given big budget money so that anything happen within the 24 hours, within the 48 hours, within the 72 hours of disaster management requirement, they act and do it. I mean, we like talk all the same. Thank you, Minister. Me like him through presentation below you. Me endorse him too. I'll talk. All colleague members even put him finish. Long this plan. Me like ask him that's all. Government long in the next budget look Savile office plan disaster and give them the kind of money they deserve to have. That's number one. Number two, we like to also thank you. We had him also minister mention him. Talk me we mention him long one public. Cemetery. Now, me like him, through this talk. Me like him by play must make him happen. No later, but within the end, this frame of time to the end of the year. Now by me, he got one place. So that we play no can go for him up. And not only the people of the others, but every one of us. Me too, me like silly blown this lahap. Because haplo me long way. No God put me lo camp lo me so. Same na. Me like talk all same. Thank you too much. No harim this long community governments. They are the most important people. They are the most important leaders. They were elected by the people just like we do. Like what they did to us. These people are leaders. They are honorable. We must give them the honorable manner that they need, they deserve. Meaning, you must halve more. Painin plan di good plamani na imi halvim. Or community government blame me. You must make a difference from other community government from Papua New Guinea. We must make a difference, and we must start it off by helping the office belong community government so that you mean helping all line blow me long community government long place long because they are the one who are doing the immediate job you me aligned to. So me believe helping them will bring a lot of development inside long change of program that we want to see. Traditional guidance long side leadership must be also supported. Traditional leaders also monarblay talk finish. Now section 51 of the law in our constitution, let me clarify what governs for the traditional leaders to also play their card. So me like talk again, thank you Minister. Thank you through me like talk, thank you to the Minister. Long me helping me, the people of the atolls, long one program where me play smoking peace. I bring him long and bring him all panguna. Thank you very much. That's part of food security. Now thank you too much. Me got 10 placards anyway. You by kiss him. 10 placards now stop. Behind tomorrow you carry me go and give him more. They come from the sweet fish from the atolls. So me ask him online you plateau that was you like him. You order me. Now by me give him you smoked fish. Now by you kai now you taste him sweetness from this fish. So thank you, Minister, on this arrangement, one time Minister of DPI, and you to one time, thank you through, you got 10 placards and stuff, but you go looking. Smoke fish Long Island yet. So thank you too much, long this season, me like talk with the all members, you too, you are in that program. Because you like him, you talk with me. Now, but me giving you one placard, so thank you too much, Mr. Speaker. Me hamas through the presentation of Minister, me like talk strong long government, me like talk savel long brother Minister of Finance, that Honorable Minister of Finance, next year you me as a government look long give him appropriate funding to the office of the community government through the disaster management office so that all you can manage him good office long all without calling Port Moresby at the time you get disaster. Then we must act immediately on ground. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister for Mining.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It will contribute the debate on the minister's statement regarding community governments. Mr. Speaker, for some of us who work closely with community governments, we are looking at something that we need to work in. Maybe the changes that we make or propose, but we don't have to implement them now, but we can implement them or capture them into the new constitution, the independent Bougainville. Now we can apply them time mixing independence. But Minister, thank you for news that all allowance for community government members you ready now na balik isin. Planti lo meeting the community government all sa working wall yet. Samata mo sa asking for constituency member lo funding all. Natami for constituency member ko attend no this all meeting mo sa asking for to lo funding mo la. So maybe giving them something on a fortnightly basis by allowing lo a demand. Plenty law meeting the community government, the recurrent agenda is always allowances for the community government members. So thank you, Minister, for this news. I think only haven't finished too, so you are at to put in the account blow. Good body to say you need Yaman. Minister, me like point him out something the soul that we might consider as to make our community governments effective. Planted all community government only operate all Hapol district staff. So they operate next to the districts. And many of the meetings are attended by district coordinators. Now we talk something and get advice from the district coordinators. That is all good. But recently, me looking I need to album the Australian government or we start building community government offices. Now, at one stage, I was told that my community government of Terra is next in line, beyond the Orlando Rao. Now, maybe talk solution, that is fine. We were building lower, and I was told that it would be somewhere away from the district center. So I simply raised the question. So if we are moving the community government offices away from the district administration, who is going to be at the district administration to monitor the public servants there? Because community government do raw, go finish do raw. But tera ulag moving buro teperoy. Na usad pa stop na lo wakunay na monitoring all workman. Na suppose si katol meta si concerning administration of the district. Are these officers supposed to be listening in on the community government meetings? So how is that communication by Kamatlo district administration or working on something community government talk lo working? So me asking Minister, you considering this now? The other thing is when we give funding to community governments, the community governments have accounts. And the money that we give to them goes in and sits in these accounts. But it doesn't go down to the wards. Suppose you are in all money talk all ward level, they come up with words like me. So for my part, Minister, me trying to establish all account law on one ward. I even gave them money for them to travel. I gave them money to open the accounts. But only got plenty problem with Minister because bank got kind rule na. One blood bank tason and said biket na. Inapi me helping online by me. All what level so that they open their accounts. My experience, Minister, is that I've been giving money direct to the ward members. 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Time is asking the acquittal to come back. This money is finished allowance. That's the acquittal they give me. So, having learned from that, moving talking more, from now on, I will only deposit the development grant into each ward through the ward account. They are complying to this, Minister, but as I said, only got problem one time bank. Bank you ask him all, open all account loan personally. Let me talk to him all. That's very good because soon you will be on a payroll block sim allowance. So open him all account. But the real issue of opening all ward account, and we stop it. I hope that we can assist them so that we can get each ward to have a ward account. So time you talk loan ward treasuries. That is where the money is parked. And it will have 3 signatories. You may got member man, you may got member Mary, and you may got ward recorder. They can be the signatories to that account. So there's transparency. Minister, one of the things, and I'm sure the other members of the House will have noticed, is that community governments mean well. Community governments want to work. Community governments want to deliver. But I believe that they are incapable of doing that for various reasons. What kind of solution will come? Yes, we can apply those solutions looking for whatever the perspective is. My personal view is that the community governments are not properly aligned with the constituency members and the Bougainville House of Representatives. That is where the problem is. Even if you look at the officers that we have in the districts, or officers of the public service that we place in the districts to work with these community governments, are not able to work with them because the political alignment is not there, and therefore the administrative alignment is all over the place. Osema colleague member ablo baba ito ka. One officer lo help, every report ikam lo headquarters lo help. Officer of education, every report lo ngayon. So if we have officers in the district level who are supposed to work with community governments and constituency members reporting direct to their superiors in Buka, then why do you put them there in the first place? Then work well. Sila kan secretary ba sa office timol tu? So that all by game report na yung isa, wala something will work out. So I believe a corrective approach to this would be first to align the political structure. Once the political structure is in place, then we align the administrative reporting structure. Because we cannot have these community governments lo stop bila simple as so. You cannot continue to mislead community government members and use them as rubber stamps. They are leaders in their own rights. They must be given the proper respect. Time yun work lo SRC determinations ba yun na SRC laws ba yun o sa many moving some the motion, it will cover these community government members. So they must be accorded that proper respect. They must be given the necessary administrative support so that they can do their work correctly and efficiently. So, Speaker, to conclude, Minister, you may work on 10 community governments for some years now. I think 2016 enough now. Now you may say finish what the problems are, what the issues are. Me asking us going forward into independent Bougainville. Let's fine-tune our second-tier government, whether we will call it community government in the new constitution or whatever other name. Let's fine-tune it, taking into account our financial capability to maintain them and the political alignment with Wellington government that we got as first tier. With that, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable the Minister, you like Okim Sampla, sorry. Oh, National Member Blow Central.
Thank you. So thank you again, Speaker of Representative Government Miller here, EDG. Thank you given the record comment from me upholding Minister for Mining and put in place good planting torch and a practical level we can come up inside this level of government you mean I think me thanking Minister too along this presentation belong in and continue to shaping nation building for Bougainville. Long walk about you mean. I think and people asked in belong in and let the people of Bougainville take ownership, participate meaningfully in their nation building and this new nation of Bougainville. You may not can isolate him also long way put him government bring stop the palace and bring him power and functions from government closer to the people so that they all by participate and make a decision how things must develop area long life long in the context where all the staff long in long community long all. So me thinking this presentation plus another presentation ministers making now comment up all him or another play put him big plus something and also thought for me life for me and wish for me thanking you bring him work my power
ownership closer to the people. We have been experienced a lot of experience internationally, especially superpower countries in control through the financial institutions, all is controlling society, the whole get have the world, the work about and even making government and some time making them also pillows and penniless basket government through because they are in control. They are in control of the capital. They are in control of the money. If we change the system structure, it come back to palace. Let the people take ownership, participate, and be plus something. And be plus something. Ownership and big spirit and motivating, cultivating participants or people in what level of governance you may start long. And so I think may continue to encourage him, Minister, keep shaping, I think clarifying the two important areas and political alignment, structure, system, inside Longen, na administrative matters. Administer these two areas are important. You may streamline from top, we go down to the bottom, na come on top Longen. So let me clear cut long operations, long usat every work on carry out one area of responsibility long work about I think that's a big belief for me. If when we are getting into this new nation, if we cultivate our people, motivate our people, mobilize our people, long new country, they take ownership. I think you don't have to worry about so much of law and order. You don't have to worry about law or poverty, maybe long society. And we put the money in the clan or in a traditional governance or whatever where we are, they're able to share meaningfully. And we cultivate the attitude and character of society, the persons, so that they continue, looking at the person as important as the other person for society. So in molding this planet, big plus something. So bringing community or sharing functions of government closer to the people. We take one part of it as a national level, national level, you mean by take part long in, but the other part and lower people in the context of need or staff long in. When something is staff of family, when something is staff of community belong on, they will advise. Maybe a upper level governance or top level government, and we all work any in national level and lower level of governance to play any in, and I think there's always a peaceful transition. After it becomes Namelo Yumi Longen, long life Yumi. So I think it's a good starting with a new nation. Looking at people come first. Let people take ownership. People-centered development of the nation. People-centered development of economy. People-centered development of other areas that we cultivate in our society, in our government. So once again, congratulations. The government of the day, especially chief minister responsible for them all leadership staff inside Longen. Want to display the contribution. Thank you.
Leader of government business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, me to me like contribute little long display statement long, very important statement long Minister of Community Government. First one, I think long I think planting long you may must have and this plan per constitution it come inside. Me believe planting long people blow you may only put in thinking long one kind second tier government. But you may must run one time you may come up independent. Yeah, but for now, the current community government and elected and you may get a constituency members, you must make him so you may support him. We need to make sure that we work together. And Mr. Person Minister, Mr. try and best long educate him more because most times only complain long of grant lo you or support grant lo you me or something was members come no community government. Na Mr. talk more no got members grant. You like work good, you like in member by work close to one time. You must go close to a member now you to work good. And so planning time all chairpersons too, all know I'm a maslomi. But I think me believe sometimes minister we need to make sure that we correct them. And also all grant all constituency members and all constituency members we must use him. But along the way we got this process where the setting priority now, the executives of the community government is involved more. The must setting constituency priorities. So that me member, me only can look him also me sideline him. Them also authority, me must use him all to make him so me agree one time on what are the priorities that me also constituency member, me must fund them through long this development grant. So that's why me encourage him all, please work close to one time constituency member. Minister, me am much all ward members is start from payroll now, all by start from monthly allowance of 600 kina per month, normal members. Now all chair ladies, one time deputies by start from 700 kina. Minister, can if the ward members going to get the allowance, can they utilize the restoration, the community government grant to go down to the ward steering committee, including the ward recorders? Line, you must touch him more. You go down along next level. Me start talk community government, me also constituency member, me must handle you community government. Now you community government, you must touch down on village authorities, or take care government, so that you may all the time you can work one time, no making so also governance and improve inside the constituency, and at the same time, one time long book arawa long one plan meeting, you talk long. Me like meeting also community government minister, me talk also. Me like by one plan day or cheap no place. We must stop on one plan payroll. Now AG and someone in me. AG is someone in me. Now I may explain and talk long one plan situation of Buka before. One plan cheap. I think only been giving out some money. I'm not using money good. Now they like holding men now. Me to talk about this plan because sometimes we need to be mindful. This plan cheap long place and powerful money. Law problem is not written. Now you may not bring him any kind of system, governance system, some time. By you mean complicating, by you mean, what's the word? By you mean rousing authority blow him. Because governance blow you mean by like containing them. Chief and staff and yet no advance are containing them. So those are some of the things that we must look. Time you may talk long, you may also including tape there or VAs or this is the government long process. Honorable Minister, thank you long office long community government long you start opening more. Minister, maybe like in one plateau yet, so maybe not been like by already looking also me awarding one plan. So if there's a me like asking Minister, can you continue on with the program? The big news. Can you continue on? All now community government we plan of kisim all one kind office awesome. Enough this program and we continue. So that by any fair long you got a community government, we got one kind office. If you liaise with our partners, the defect, can we continue that program? And because it's important, also you must put in with a community government one kind standard. Laga, you know one plan tap now tambo. Time is looking more now all community government, but you plan Misa talk say no one and me no about me at one plan. So Minister, time is like I think Ramu must kiss priority to. Thank you. Last platinum thing. Suppose by you mean not suppose constitution by you may come. By you may continue or remain long this current government with that second tier government by staff and community government. Members, now ministers, before me making this law, time minister and minister one pattern maybe like Senisim. Maybe like Senisim, this law all Mary come up, say. Because maybe looking also democratic right no you me this plan law and me deny you me. Rightly, in any democratic state, people must decide in straight who should become chairman, who should become deputy. Now, on current law, and stuff, to me, deny constitutional right, the democratic right of the people to now determine who becomes the chairman and who becomes the deputy. Now, because now law, he deny me. Yeah. But I didn't decide time me working, me like saying him, oh, me hit him brick work. Or Mary or Sanap talk nogat. Or chairman of chairman or staff or talk nogat. Now, me talk, okay, by nogat. So, if I don't make him any amendment law this law or community government. Me like suggest him law here. In the future, if we are going to remain, can the constituency member become the chairman of the community government? You may must connect him. You may must connect him. Look in provincial government, all regional members, they are calling them governors. Only look out them or provincial government board. The same concept you can kiss him come inside. Now by me put him control. Last time me I remember chief. Chief from me yet. And mo talk. And me talk, member, me not can come attend him community government meeting time you no stop. Me like by me come attend him community government time you stop. Now, you know what when is something me kirap lo berblo me. Me kirap na me talk. Okay, so you will go talking me also. Me must try extra best from me. Lo make him so me must involve. Lo kiss him over the line inside the community government in Kamanta. So that me pa ogata must work one time. Me not like Harim cheap way and me talk also so me like come time you just sorry stuff. No God. Me must make him show community government for me. Then we must sit down and make him a good tradition. Now talk you come up have he must come on top with me. Politics law, second tier government must come on top with you. Maybe MB will go complain no this plan. So honorable members, me really believe if we make the constituency members become the chairpersons of the community government, me believe that connection by MB come up. Now you may all get a can work one time to make him sure you know that all kind of community government. Community government is very important. We all need to make sure that we all work together to make sure it effectively functions to serve our people in the communities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister for Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think planting thing and me good planting thing only contributing to this. It's just like Dr. Lick long one plant area long statement long Minister of Community Government. Thank you, Minister. Long good statement long you. Me member long Bolawe constituency where me start long area long tailings long Panguna mine. Na me one big issue long constituency long continuous disaster. Now you can talk man-made disaster or yeah, because time mining had been closed 30 years ago, but continuous flow long this plant PP and tap long upstream and not long continue yet today long time long floods. Now more yet now long time long all alluvial mining upstream and not long continue yet. So now level long this sedimentation long Java downstream and higher than level long ground. Now this water by going side from new areas. Community government minister, Mitupula bin Chalim or team, the disaster even go on a compiling report long this issue. Now report them staff but me just like putting on record long this house, or some this issue, and me one particular issue long Bana district, na long Lato, na Baba, na Torokina. So suppose government no addressing this issue, and by continue long kamapi mo big bagarap long tailings. Me can talk out that me probably raising too long Central Parliamentary Committee Panguna Mind Dialogue discussions, consultations. Na to tintin from me long district to like putting one submission alongside the humanitarian site belong this issue. You know, mining issue. I think plenty time me play talk long this tailings or clean up. Gaman and ko looking long mining aspect. Na ko like passing this initiative. Long lenonas long joint venture want them sample line. Long working come up and clean up. But actually, all this thing, long try long down in level long this level of PPI, debris sedimentation, so that this water no can go inside the barat no ground now. But now I'm all close to Kuneka area or primary school by water by washing now. So any serious issue where government any must address him. I think suppose government addressing this current issue, yeah. And two by affecting decision from future mining of Panguna. Because unless there is a new waste management in place for the new developer, long no can work in medicine or bagarap on top long current bagarap, and by impossible long allowing mining, unless you may talk long sample kind new plan long from waste. Maybe you may get some people and you may rehabilitating all swamp long all sample areas from Bougainville. Now you may can backfill more na working on a place and more thinking. But me raising the issue of minister, thank you, Mr. Speaker, issue and staff na community government want them whole government mining ni plan by look na kamapi mo good thinking of future belong tailings. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister for Lands.
Thank you, Speaker, for giving me this time. Me compare long, giving the contribution below me. Me acknowledging presentation below Minister responsible. I had some time long go through, some time ago through this Community Government Act. I think one of the things that let me pop out along this Act, he talks the community government is the arm that is responsible long look long all resources long constituencies na kamapi mo laws long harnessing or resources long constituency. I've been very advocating that long time, and then long start long or initiative long constituency. I think I mean need him partnership long members too long intervene. Me just like put him some point that for since you been starting this house there's been this talk of head tax long all constituencies headed by the community government. Me just like posing long do we have the regulations ready long actually tackling or start collecting this head tax. This is important because only needing some kind capital if they have some form of resources long only can now long starting. Me go back long this law and order issue yesterday that me work on discussing. Mr. Speaker, me believe also I mean, no good too much you me creating when we talk about law and order issues, to create a lot of what we can call them monsters. But when we let me wampla island where we got way long live. In that sense, me like to call some, I think we have been living in a certain way, it coming up now. Now, the roles long all this ward members in the community government, we need to really define them so that only can not long serve and deliver on those premises. I have some, in the past meeting, got some problem one time in terms of collaborating with the community government. As time goes by, we came to some consensus that some of the things were understood. And a lot of these things has to do with money. And I think Minister of Law Education, a former Minister of Law Community Government, me enlightening me along this plan. What me like put forward long here too is that we have to, we must clearly define roles long all ward members. Ward members long only can have long identify roles and responsibilities long all inside long constituencies long harnessing any resources that is available so that only can they too can be able to raise revenue or raise funds long supporting this plan, supporting constituency and our people where they are responsible for. Why do we have a government? Why do we have a second-tier government? Why do we have police? Why do you make all this kind strata of governance? I'm not working on them. It comes down long Mipla as a big government. When I'm reason through that Mipla got all this government, long help him identify to help identify what? I think in long Mipla long look sabe long this plan important. The issue of air tax. Maybe talking community government manager below me also, if you are going to do an awareness long air tax, given that you got directions from the department, I am willing to go one time you helping you long working some awareness in some of this word. But so enough long time now, me not see many update. I really think that we should go ahead one time this law had text, given that we have the regulations and the policies in place. We have to be responsible, Mr. Speaker, as we move forward. There was a group of people that all being like Brook, long independence, long all. But these people were kept and they were fed for a long time, about 400 years. But the time they decided to break free, this was the time that they had to really come up and stand up long to play long all. And when that time came, long all go into freedom, they had to grow their own food. Almost look out in cattle long all yet. They have to build their own houses. Whilst long pastime life long all, emol establo household na money build him. Only kai long all free kai all na man bingok long give him. They have been living that life. It's a true story in history for 400 years. Once they entered freedom, they started to plant their own food. They started to build their own houses. They started to farm their own farms. Mr. Speaker, this week I've been sitting down along this platform. Maybe I'm talking government. I'm really following what you have been saying for the last 3 years. So now that I come inside straight long engine room, I have another perspective now. We have the political government, now you got to bureaucracy too. For now, I have seen that a lot of directions given by the political head. I mean, no karim kai tamlolo bureaucracy. We have initiated a lot of things. The economic sector have initiated a lot of things. But Emino Karim Kaikai, I am of the view now that all bureaucracy are not in a position now to deliver him one picture impact something. We need to start planting our own fields. We need to start to build our own houses. We need to start to farm our own cattle. It has to start now if 2025 is the time to enter into freedom. Mr. Speaker, Pikpla leader and Binto Colson, the price of greatness is responsibility. Freedom, Mr. Speaker, meeting also may become one time Pikpla responsibility. At one time, community government asking me, member, you talk long on laws established long act, long me play yana sim sampla lo liklikol, initiative long make him sampla money, give us some money. And I said, well, call up a meeting, let's talk about it now. Me give him some money out from the grant. At some point too, we have to really work him some kind of awareness long, get the leadership up. He got picked a failure too, long or community government. Once we give them the resources, they are not responsible. Now they talk also, give me 30,000 from the grant. So I gave them 30,000. Enough now, got responsible akuitoli come long office from. Now I'm going to be held accountable. It is a multifaceted issue that we are talking about. Me like to call them, Mr. Speaker, that as we progress to this future, you may need long really grappling or this institutions like community government. I think it's the community government. And it should be an organization of itself in the near future. Shouldn't be under any department. Komplatamo lito kimi, plan no stabanan ito you. Plus stabanan dito community government department, and I was a bit sad, and I was a bit embarrassed. So me like to call them, let's get back to the Community Government Act. Na may look long roles na responsibilities belong all ward members and see where we can harness so that we can continue to help them long you may walk about forward into that future that we aspire. I think one time this plan, thank you long you, Mr. Speaker.
I think when we call him honorable member Blokono, after that we go to another ministerial statement. So,
thank you, Mr. Speaker. Me start honorary honorable line because me got this heavy me got three black community government. Also me no got plan to talk. Me like first of all asking Minister from Community Government to give me a copy of the written minister statement tomorrow morning. So that we can defer back long every time we go constituency now we talk to long line for me. Minister, we like asking us also look at the difference between online we got one community government or even two, even we make him two. And we got this triple big community governments. We like us all you yet to find some road never time when we consider one time you can help me in one kind of way. Maybe I can look long, heavy long on this community government, long constituency long. And that's all, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker. Me too, me like contribute, though it's not quite relevant long issue, central issues Minister bring in, but me harem comments belong all members na ministers na me too me like contribute long issue belong community government. As members will know, we had a COE. Na is the community government we've been come inside and I change him COE system. The time this community government we've been come inside, and this time too
Even got position below Mary, he come inside. Na this la rotating gender chairmanship too, even come inside. And I stood on this floor, Mr. Speaker, as a lone voice, long talking government also. We're probably heading into the wrong direction. Now I'm even concerned because particularly the community government, man Mary na pikini stop longen. So maybe it would have been wise at that time, long government lo kirap na running this la awareness, long intention lo bring him up, bring him community government act, want them all this la dual membership na gender equality rotation. We like making clear all these suggestions, lo name lo gender balance na all this la kanya. Will come lo these are OSAID funded agendas. Know come lo you mean. And whilst it is a fact that you must look sabe long all narpla hap lo you in some instances we need to be careful because lo me now one legally constituency also in Tonsu we even got 13 wards. Today I have to deal with 26 members instead of dealing with 13 members. So time Minister Pataku been talking at longan. I was looking at some potential changes. Now, also by me change him nothing, Mr. Speaker. Meeting the time is right through the current minister. I'll probably do a system check. This community government, I must align because there are some issues. Number one, and some member come up in finish. One issue too where it's always apparent. Case belong all national members. Because organic law along local level na provincial government apply lo yumi. The national members are at liberty, Mr. Speaker, particularly law issue belong all DDA. In some instances, the national members are working against this government through law community government. And therefore, avoiding this sort of issues, we need to realign this system of government. So we work together. And one of the proposals that I was thinking about, leader of government, business bring him, try and align him community government. You may look long a constituency member, must chairman or chair lady, this community government. Because a constituency member, he has the mandate from the whole of that constituency. Now, let me meeting also, you must run in this review, community government, in preparation, going into independence. Some of these submissions, Mr. Speaker, as you know, you may be kept up in parliamentary committee, alwin this work long, mama lawyer, me like in parliamentary committee, and one agenda, and look long on this kind system because we need to feature the correct system inside the mama law inside the mama law Now, even if we make those changes, Mr. Speaker, but we got problem yet of funding. So one plus something we thinking long and if the shares are finally transferred to Bougainville, government must agree to a certain percentage. It must go along all community government. Right from the start, how much percentage, I don't care what it is. Because even if you say 2%, that's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of kina, where all community government now can really deal with the issues. Now you may long ABG, you may deal one time issue, you may supposed to deal one time. And that is being legislated. So, also member come up, me forewarning you, me also, let's start looking at the system of government. It's critical that also me talk. Something you may test him now. So that by the time Mama Loy come out, now you may independent, things are running smoothly because we've sort of tested the system. Now you may looking one of good plan, now no good blongan. Just while I stand, there's been some discussions long issue long also member long kono come up in emlong boundaries, because some constituency are too big also. Kono na Tewa, where one constituency got two community government. And therefore, one of the issues that meeting thing long and emlong government long hurry up him appointment long boundaries commissioner. Now boundaries commission can make him sila work now. Now boundaries commission too. By making this submission long him, he go inside the constitutional commission. Maybe through the parliamentary committee, because me like him this mama loy come inside. And sit down straight. Suppose commissioner sigolo kono. I think this submission I think only make him law commissioner. But it would be stronger if there's a parliamentary committee or you got team belong minister in making this community government review and make sure with that submission or that review finds its way into the Constitutional Planning Commission. So I understand commentary we like making. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Let me give him opportunity, law minister, community government law, making final responses, final remarks,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Lord, that our honorable members society taking time, Lord, contribute, Lord, this debate, Lord, ministerial statement that we make him. I think, Mr. Speaker, me like to bring in this house to go back, Lord, him, Lord, creation, Lord, community government, the district affairs, which am Lord, make him all people, it come up sustainable, efficient, effective. Well, on that note, me agree one time plant your statement. Let me take note, and I understand that my department has also taken note that community government through has to be a standalone. I say this only because the time we look back, Law, ever since the appointment, Law, me inside Law department, me try to look long all documentation or legal documents and all policies is up underneath Law. It's like even going back to 2006, first government actually even come out on time blueprint. Even come out on time blueprint of what could be really a manageable, sustainable, and an effective, system of a government until the changes that happened in 2016 through an act of parliament. Restructure this department is truly a must. The Remy must come up, which me put him inside the ministerial statement below me that there is a team led by Mr. Kenehe, Loklo, through Lodisla, time, bringing back what is the right sizing, community government model. And the challenges are there. However, it needs, because community government is the second tier government, that also is a regulatory body inside the government now. I think the idea of redefining, realigning, trying to positioning in a way that it serves everyone, so the whole of Bougainville's interest, is something that we're trying to work towards to make it right. Look long all issues when we play got long I acknowledge, me take no too long all issues where we raising that these may also be the same challenges that MIPLA department to you work face him, where we need to clearly position where the second tier government sits in order for it to be sustainable and effective, and also to be there at the position where local economy can be owned, because where the community government is where the resources are. We actually the second tier government and the most untapped economic sector too, we can talk also. In terms of educating our leaders to know that as you come a member of the ward or leader of the community government, you role responsibility, you are a leader, a political leader who should be providing the vision. Vision where all people you me run through one time. There is a gap in education where I would like to put into this honorable house law, you may take note that I believe if we can collaboratively work together and educate our community government leaders, that Olino can look imolet or sememol administrators below ABG, but rather they should see themselves as They are the politicians, they are the leaders. And if it means that this Latiablo government or ABG, you work lo time lo making sure you meet talk lo fiscal self-reliance, or line blow me too, and then lo department blow me, who are ward leaders, they should be speaking the same language. Mr. Speaker and this honorable House, we have a lot to catch up on. You make a plenty to catch up on them, because if you look back into 2006 on the day when the blueprint was done, it coming up now, I think we've evolved towards the point of dependency than towards the point of independence. So all challenges that MIPLA got long and the support that we are getting from the development partners is one of those things that can also help us to create an avenue where MIPLA inaplo sit down, because time if you minaplo clearly kiss him good, and I can correct the perception here. Even the support that we're getting through the Australian program, lo building or community halls, and this la noble separating or community government from the districts. All assemblies, all place, man Mary Babung one time, and more or less the point of, but probably it's because of how the buildings are being built. Must come out more attractive, we work lo make him na, or community government, you work lo less lo stop underneath lo district buildings. I mean, this all get all facilities, they're coming in, and there's more that we'd like to do to make sure that we accommodate and truly make the second tier government stand alone so that them can work as a second tier government to ABG. In terms of disaster, me putting forward, I think that, already at the department level, me play work time, look underneath guidance, ministry. We play look how to make disaster become more self-sustaining, proactive rather than being reactive, because we've become too reactive for far too long. Now, make him yumi too. He dependent over law, first year government yumi. And by saying that, me like put him on note lo this la house through lo you, Mr. Speaker, that when it comes to disaster, I need this honorable house to be fully informed as of today onwards that he got two big areas of concern where disaster is happening. One is, our people in the atolls, and also we have over 12 to 14,000 people below 7 constituencies through the man-made disaster below Panguna, all people below lower tailings. So that 1 million look where government you work budget team now is something that me play work time look how best we can be able to put that money to good use by addressing both group of people, because both group of people only work suffering more same old issues, although one is directly a man-made disaster. The other group of people, line Bluyumi, who are there in the natural space that only stop long, but the reality is something that no stop aside Bluyumi. So I think me agree, me take note all the other recommendations are taken note of, and we will be able to, I can be able to now come back with the response law, Naraplau consensus, where you may raise him law next sitting inside of progressive update law from the ministry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Minister. The question is that the Parliament take note of the statement by the Honorable the Minister for Community Government. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The Leader of Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I now move that the House adjourn to tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the question is that the motion for adjournment be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, this House is adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.